your money, your taxes, your truck, and your road to success in the trucking industry. This is Trucking Business and Beyond, the show that puts the money where it belongs, back in your pocket.
Good morning, you beautiful bunch of fuckers, and welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It is Thursday, June 27th. We are here live. We've got an hour, so jump in here and join us. Phone lines are open. It is a free-for-all. If you've got a question, a comment, a topic, anything goes. We can talk about trucks, money, fuel mileage, maintenance, tires, taxes, technology, health and fitness on the road, getting started as an owner-operator, finding freight, working with brokers, getting your authority. The list goes on and on. If you want to talk about it, pick up the phone and give me a call, 855-950-3835, or hit that call now button on your app. We'll get to those calls here in just a couple minutes. It is Thursday, so we've only got an hour. This hour will be followed up by Rolling Toe with Mike and Kevin Beckett. So jump in here quick. I've got a couple things I want to talk about while we're screening some calls. You know, today I thought it was interesting timing. I got up and I was scrolling through my news feed like I normally do. And many days I kind of find themes. And a lot of the themes today in the news were just not good. Even some pretty specific trucking news that I was scrolling through. Here was one of them. There was an awful lot of talk about this article. The ATRI numbers for 2023 just came out, and they went up again. They didn't go up a lot, but they went up 6.6%. Excluding fuel, because fuel's all over the board. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. So sometimes it pays to look at it without the fuel in there. The cost right now, $2.27 a mile. Now keep in mind, this is for fleets. And we talk about this all the time. Many people believe that fleets are able to control costs better. They think they can buy trucks cheaper and they buy fuel cheaper and they can do their own maintenance. And that is completely false. $2.27 a mile. Now, that also does include the driver. $2.27 a mile is a lot of money to run a truck when rates aren't there. That the cost is now higher than the average spot market rate. So you know it's a really difficult time for fleets. And when we talk about controlling cost and how important it is, this is where fleets are really kind of screwed. Not only, there are just some things they can't do to control cost that owner-operators can. Certain things that make the truck more complicated. A bypass oil filter saves a lot of money. Fleets are never going to run bypass oil filters. It just does not work for them at all. It doesn't work in their maintenance cycle. They don't see the benefit of protecting an engine because they're not going to keep the truck. There's a big cost-cutting strategy they're not going to use. Almost every modification we talk about, fleet air filter, fantastic modification, fairly inexpensive, pays for itself quickly. Fleets, it would be insane to try it because they would lose too many of them. Shops would take them out and throw a paper filter in there and throw away their fleet air filter. We've seen it happen. It's a little shocking to me because if you've ever seen a fleet air filter, I can't imagine throwing it in the garbage, but it's happened. Slowing down. Simplest, cheapest strategy for lowering cost across the board in your operation. Lowers maintenance cost, lowers fuel cost, tires last longer. Everything is better when you slow a truck down. For an owner-operator, it's an instant decision. You could be listening to me right now running 75 miles an hour and say, what the hell am I doing? And slow down to 65 or 55. You could do that instantly and start saving money this minute. Fleets can't do that. Their drivers are paid by the mile. I've talked about this. Fleets have a very, very difficult time controlling cost. That's the advantage that owner-operators and small fleets have. Those costs are up 6.6% if we take fuel out. 1 year, 6.6%. They were up in 2023 significantly, or 2022 already. These are the 2023 numbers, up 6.6%. Truck and trailer payments grew by 8.8%, now 36 cents a mile for truck and trailer. Driver wages grew by 7.6%. We're now up to 78 cents a mile. There's another advantage. As an owner-operator, you don't have to pay driver wages. You can take a pay cut, and many times you need to. Fleets can't issue a pay cut to their drivers. That would never work. Insurance premiums are up 12.5%. They're just under 10 cents a mile now. So the higher these costs go, the harder it is. Rates are not coming up with them. So this trucking recession is getting worse, not better. Rates are down again. There's been a little bit of a bump. I think it's more summer activity than anything. I don't think it's going to hold. And it's not enough to really help most people. It's why we still have trucking companies going out of business, and they're going to continue going out of business. But I got thinking about that as well. And then I saw a post on social media, Triumph, big factoring company. Basically, what they're saying is with the freight recession going on, I'm going to read this as kind of from an email that Triumph sent out to its customers. This is a factoring company. With the freight recession ongoing, we wanted to share some insights regarding our clients with higher concentrations. If you have a single customer account of 50% of your total revenue, you may be facing increased risk. Let me help them out with that sentence. It's not you may be, you are facing increased risk. That freaks me out to think that you're factoring in one of your customers is more than 50% of your total revenue. In this market, that would really freak me out. They're talking about if that happens with their customers, they could put in credit limit caps, which is smart. They should. You can't let a customer get that deep into you in today's market. But these are the things we're talking about in business. We're talking about inflation, low rates, what it's doing. In the economy itself, as consumers, we're talking about inflation. A lot of talk right now that this real estate crash just might be imminent. I watch a lot of real estate prices. They're still strong. It's a weird market, but they don't believe that's going to hold up. Most of the news I read today is very negative as far as the overall economy goes. And it's good timing because we have a presidential debate tonight. I don't watch many of these. Sometimes I tune in. Most of the time I just wait for the highlight reel after because the last couple of elections, these debates have been just horrendous. I'm going to watch this one. We'll see what happens. But I just want to reflect back on where we were 4 years ago. We were in a much better place all the way around. I mean, the only problem in the country 4 years ago, the only major thing we were really talking about was just political garbage. It was just there were an awful lot of people unhappy that Trump was president. And most of what we were fighting about was just purely political. That's not true today. There is a lot of bad news. In fact, our country is a dumpster fire right now. When you look at the southern border, what's going on with immigration, what's going on with crime, what's going on with the economy, what's going on with all the woke DEI crap, the assault on women, all of it. It is a total dumpster fire. Honestly, in 61 years, I do not remember our country being in this bad a shape. And I grew up in the Vietnam era. I went through stagflation in the 70s. I've been through a lot of this. I don't ever remember it being this bad. And we have an election. I wish our elections were more meaningful than they have been recently, but I don't know how this one it really is any choice whatsoever. The results from this administration have been just unbelievably bad and continue to be bad. And the president himself, I can't believe we're even still going to pretending we're going to have an election with this guy. I mean, it's cruel what they're doing to him. When we have to speculate whether or not he's going to be drugged up to make it through the debate. And I can't imagine what the debate might be like, given that it's Jake Tapper at CNN and the way they've set up the rules. And I don't know. It'll just be interesting. But something needs to change. And tonight might be a pretty clear indicator. I'm hoping. We'll see what happens. But you just have to look around. What has gone so horribly wrong in our country in 4 years? And how do we turn it around? And right now, the only thing we do have are elections. And like I said, they haven't been all that effective lately. But I don't know what else to say. When I look around and I see these headlines and I see where we're going, and I don't see any way out with the current administration. I don't see anything getting better. So if nothing else, you just have to try something different. I'm really hoping that's what happens and we can at least turn this around. I still think that we are due for a recession. I really do. And I think it might kick off with a real estate recession again. We'll see. I'm going to get to some phone calls. We are limited on time today. So if you want to jump in, 855-950-3835 or hit that call now button on your app. I will try to monitor the chat for questions as well. So if you have any, send them over. All right, let's get to some calls. Let's go to Colorado. Tom, welcome to the program.
Kevin, good morning.
What's on your mind today?
So the debate tonight. I'm pretty excited about that debate. I'm conflicted because I can't believe that the Democrats are. There's just no way they can keep this the guy as their candidate, in my opinion. So part of me wants him to shit himself on stage, but the other part of me wants him to do well enough where they keep him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, man, really?
It has become cruel to watch this. I mean, no matter what you think about Joe Biden, I've never really liked him. He's been in politics for a long time, and there was something about the guy I didn't like a long, long time ago. But enough is enough. This is just cruel now. I mean, if you did this to your grandfather, you'd be in prison. We have rules about it. There's actually laws about this.
He deserves every little bit of it.
Yeah, I don't. But we don't.
I agree with you.
But we don't. We don't deserve this.
No, we don't deserve it. So, but there's the point. It's like how much, it's like watching a train crash. It's horrible. But at the same token, the dude, in his daughter's diary, he used to shower with her and sexually molested her, and that just gets swept under the table. Oh no, that's no big deal. He deserves to go to hell. This is a bad guy. This is not a good guy.
I get it. I still hate to see it. I hate to see it for our country. Not for him. I don't care about him because you're right. There's a lot of things I don't like about him. I hate to see this for our country. It is unbelievable what the world is watching and what we're watching here. I don't know. I can't even imagine. When I look at this, I just try to think. And here's something else. Every administration for, say, the first 18 months or so tends to blame a lot of things on the prior administration. Well, this is why we're in this mess, and it's going to take us a little while to get out. Here's what we're going to do. when you are still blaming the prior administration 4 years later as you're ready to debate, come on. I mean, if you couldn't fix it in
Right.
4 years and you're still blaming it on the last administration, that's a real problem.
Yeah, we almost deserve it as a. I've talked to a lot of people, and just in passing, if I happen to catch a conversation with them, and then I feel them out a little bit politically, and we are, as a society, completely ignorant, and it's all about us. What can I get? And so, in a way, we deserve it. But at the same token, these people are these Democrats that are in there now, like I say, and hence the book review I'm going to give you. They're almost like the Russians, the Bolsheviks back in the day. If this guy had the House and the Senate, there would be some serious civil war fighting going on, I think, because the first thing that he would do would come for your guns.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen a lot of that. Like I said, I've been through a lot politically and looking back, and there have been some pretty bad times, and there have been better times. And I really kind of had the feeling 4 years ago that we might be climbing out of that. Several good things did happen, and the economy responded well to it. And I think it was part of what extended the run that we thought. We thought we should have had this recession way back then. And then we didn't.
Yes.
We had 4 really good years and things were looking better. And then COVID hit. And everything's been a mess since. And if it was planned, then we're all just screwed. I mean, if just 1/4 of the conspiracy theories are actually true, we're in real trouble.
I don't think there's any way out of this, to be honest with you. I don't know how we could possibly, look at all the government workers we have. Look at how big the government is. It's just a ball rolling downhill. We never cut the spending. And it won't be a recession, so you're gonna have to. It won't be a recession.
I know.
It'll make the 30s look like absolutely a cakewalk. This will be horrendous. Thank God we do have the
something else we have.
So maybe we can start over here in 1,000 years.
Well, yeah, I was going to say something something is very different this time than the 30s. One of the things we need to think about, one, is there's a lot more people, and that matters. There's a lot more people. And the bigger difference, though, is in 1930, most people by far were somewhat self-reliant. We were pretty independent as people back then. We were pretty tough. We could survive things and grow a garden and feed ourselves and struggle and make it through. These people can't get through a political commercial without losing their minds today. They're weak. As a country, we are horribly weak and just not competent at much anymore. I mean, look around, and I don't want to make this a generational thing. I hate when, this generation is so. Skip the whole generational thing.
It is, though.
I know it is. I know it is, but it's not just generational.
You should see when the kid runs out of Hot Pockets.
No, I get it. That's what I mean.
Runs out of Hot Pockets. It's a catastrophe, bro.
We are really, really weak as people, and we have very, very few skills anymore. I mean, think about it. What kind of skills to just survive do most people have today? My God, when I hear the statistic that the average person has like 3 days worth of food in their pantry, if that, and most of it's not real food anyway, but we could not the results of a 1930s like depression right now, I can't even imagine.
No, and I think we might see it, but yeah, it's not gonna be good. Anyway, so I know you only have an hour today. That the book The Idiot, Dostoevsky's, the Russian, he's the Russian.
Yeah.
It's a novel. You were talking last week about novels. Um, I of course did the audio book, so I don't know. I imagine, but the writing is it's
Uh-oh. I'm losing you.
yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
there you are.
The Idiot Dostoevsky. The Idiot Dostoevsky. There's my tip. He's got a couple, quite a few books out, and I went on a little run with him 6 months ago or so, and the way he writes is it's unique. I don't read many Russian authors, so I
You
don't know if
don't?
it's more of a Russian thing, but very entertaining.
Yes. I have read a couple of Dostoevsky books. He does have a really good writing style. I haven't read this one, though. I might just have to add it to my Kindle.
Yeah, this is probably my yeah. Right. Well, next winter, man. Hopefully, you have a bad winter. You have plenty of reading. To do. Yeah, I know you only have an hour. I'll let you go. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you for the book recommendation. If our weather doesn't straighten up, I'm going to have more time to read. My gosh, I'm struggling with the garden this year because of the weather. It's cold and cloudy again, 2 days in a row. We almost never have this kind of weather at this time of year. And it's just been a weird spring, and now it's even more of a weird summer weather-wise here. Nothing extreme. We're just not getting enough sun and heat for a garden for this time of year. Let's go to Pennsylvania. Nick, welcome to the program.
Hey, Kevin.
What's on your mind today? Uh-oh.
So I called back on March 13th about my digestive health. Can you hear me?
I can now. Go ahead.
Hello? All right, so I called back on March 13th about my digestive health. I was in really bad shape when I talked to you back then.
Okay.
And I am doing much better today.
Excellent. What did you do that helped?
Hello? Well, I'm about 80% carnivore today.
Excellent.
So I'm down, when I talked to you, I was about 250 pounds. I'm down to about 230 and dropping week by week.
Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
Cruising through Pennsylvania, sipping on my kombucha, and we do hot shot furniture. When we get to the hotel at night, I carry a little air fryer with me. Last night I cooked 3 sirloins for me, the boss, and our ride-along.
There you go.
And so I live on burgers and steak mostly through the week.
Isn't it easy and
It's
tasty?
been working out great.
Yeah.
I feel great.
Yeah. Well, I love that.
Yeah, well, this little air fryer works great.
Yeah. So.
And my biggest struggle is when I get home on the weekends.
Yeah.
The family, they're not really on board. My better half is starting to come around. She's been putting butter on her coffee.
Oh, good. That's a
She
start.
was really against it at first, but
That's a start.
I got a good mixture, and I've been trying to. I don't like to give advice to people who don't ask for it, like you say.
Right.
But she's coming around. It's the kids that are the hard part.
And kids always are, and we try to keep the kids in line as much as we can, and we know when they go out in the world they're going to eat that other stuff. But hopefully we can be a good example for them. But I'm really glad you're getting those results. That's awesome.
Man, I feel great today.
Love that.
And I've been taking the hydrochloride capsules to help strengthen my stomach acid. It's something my boss recommended, and that's one thing that I can't go without is my hydrochloride.
Kudos to your boss. That's one of the things we talk about sometimes. A heavy carnivore diet is hard to digest for some people who haven't been eating that way. So some hydrochloric acid certainly helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and I haven't been back to the doctor because I know they weren't helping me. Just trying to eat right, stay right. Shout out to Baltic Trucking. They helped me quite a bit.
Excellent. Isn't it crazy how And we talked about it yesterday with Casey Means, how horribly corrupt, really, I don't know of any other word, how horribly corrupt our medical system has become. It is clear now. I mean,
Criminal, isn't it?
there always had to be a profit motive. I get that. Um, I'm a capitalist. I like profit. I like free market, but this it's not a free market. There is way too much collusion between government agencies like the FDA, and industry, and it's really crony capitalism, and it has totally destroyed our medical system as far as health goes. We talked yesterday about trauma. It's as good as it gets, and I'll continue to say that. And if I have an accident, I'm the first one that's going to show up at the emergency room. But if I don't have an accident, if it is just my health, I will stay as far away from that system as I possibly can.
Agreed.
All right,
Oh,
Nick.
yeah.
Good to hear from you.
Appreciate it, Kevin.
Keep calling in and keep giving us updates. Here's the good news, Nick. It just keeps getting better. You call me 2 weeks from now, you're going to feel even better than you do now. And if you do run into any issues, occasionally you do, give us a call. We'll help you figure them out. But I think you've got it pretty well figured out yourself. Let's go to Illinois. Jerry, good morning.
Hi, Kevin. Short day. I'll just ask you one question, and you could expand on it and do with it what you want. I read an article in Freight Waves, I believe, written by Freight Waves, that was explaining how FedEx Freight was thinking about spinning off their FedEx Freight division and how good it would be for the shareholders. Could you explain to me in layman's terms why would that be good for the shareholders in the company? Would a spin off a company like that or a division like that? Why is that good, and why would it be good for the shareholders?
So I'm going to give you a general answer because I'm not following FedEx Freight right now, and I'm not following the LTL market, and I don't really care all that much what these big companies do. So I can't talk about specifically about their numbers, but I have a pretty good feeling if I went and looked, I'd find the answer. I think I would. I'll go back because this is kind of interesting. There's a long history with FedEx, and I was a pretty big part of it for a while, so I understand it. So there was a time when, remember, FedEx was really RPS, and then FedEx bought it and made it FedEx Ground, that division. That was RPS, Roadway Package System. At the time, Roadway had been accumulating companies. So they had all kinds of, Roberts Express was their, that was their division for expedited freight. Roadway itself was their big union LTL company. They had bought Spartan Express, which I also had trucks contracted to. My first truck was contracted to Spartan Express. That was a non-union LTL company that Roadway bought. And Roadway had accumulated a bunch of these companies. And then I had trucks there at the time, and they came in and they said, we are rebranding as Caliber Systems, and we're spinning off Roadway. Roadway was the parent company of all of these companies, but they started a new parent company, Caliber Systems, and spun off Roadway. And they did it because they wanted somebody to buy the company, and nobody was going to buy that company with a big union LTL carrier involved. That was the biggest reason. And within less than a year of doing that, FedEx stepped in and bought it. That's exactly what they wanted to happen. And it would have never happened if they wouldn't have spun off Roadway. My guess is right now that the LTL business is still doing pretty well, especially with everything that happened with Yellow, and that really opened up the LTL business. So my guess is FedEx Freight is probably putting out better numbers than any of their other divisions, and they might be looking to sell it.
Well, it kind of explained in the article that they're so big, nobody's got money enough to buy it. So
that's never true.
I'm not sure purchase was an advantage.
That's never true.
Well, that may be, but that was one of the points they made in the article.
Right. They are the largest LTL carrier now, I believe, but I don't believe it's ever true that somebody's too big to be bought. We've seen cases throughout here. I'm trying to think of some now, but
I'm just curious.
We've seen cases where much smaller companies buy bigger companies. See, you don't have to be bigger than the company you're buying to buy them. I've seen that happen. The other reason it would be good for shareholders, though, is when you have a bunch of these divisions floating around, many times, especially in bad times, they're really doing poorly and it drags down the whole portfolio. So you in this case, they're going to take probably their best performer and spin it off.
Okay. Well, they make sense. It's a fairly successful, well-run company, and why they'd want to spin off a division that said they were going to focus more on their package delivery and logistics and spin off their LTL, and it just didn't make any sense to me what advantage there would be to spin that off. But I understand maybe
talk about another one you just said. Want to focus on their package business, which is extremely different from LTL. They're very, very different animals. LTL is its own kind of thing. Last mile package delivery is certainly its own thing. Sometimes it doesn't make sense for a company to try to do two different things like that. Let FedEx Freight focus on the LTL, which again, it might just be the fact that there's so much opportunity in LTL. And there's not a lot going on in the rest of the industry. The rest of the industry is kind of a mess right now. LTL still has some promise. So those are just some of the reasons. And then sometimes you just have no idea what it might be.
So FedEx Freight in the LTL division part, they do standalone LTL work that wouldn't be supporting their package delivery system?
Now, there's a pretty clear distinction. Once you start putting enough packages together that it's going on a pallet, it's probably going to ship LTL. Package companies aren't messing with pallets and that kind of stuff. They're doing individual packages. It's really almost always expedited. It's probably going to go on an airplane at some point to get there fast enough. LTL is very, very different than small package. And usually the cutoff is when we deal with it.
Okay.
Most of our deliveries are less than an entire pallet of product. We deal with a lot of vendors, but we don't have huge volumes when we order. So I would say about 80% of the stuff we get delivered is delivered by package companies. But about 20% of it, with some of our vendors, we're ordering enough now that we're ordering pallets, or even just one pallet is now going to go to an LTL carrier rather than a package carrier.
Okay. So FedEx Freight may deliver you a pallet of product, but if it's a partial pallet, FedEx Freight may pick it up somewhere and then deliver it, and a FedEx package delivery would deliver a smaller units.
Yeah, but
so not all FedEx Freight LTL goes on their package delivery vans.
Well, wait a minute. FedEx Freight. Now, if something has changed since I've been more actively involved, I don't know. Because like I said, I haven't followed them. As far as I know, the system, the way it was when I was there, and I don't think it's changed. If the bill of lading was originally with FedEx Freight, it's never, ever going on a package truck. Those are two totally separate divisions, and they never shared freight amongst those divisions.
Okay. That's where I was confused. I thought they each supported each other, and they maybe do to a certain extent, but not completely then.
Not at all when I was there. There was no...
Okay. Well,
in fact,
might be an advantage
at one point, there was FedEx, the original FedEx, the purple and orange, the overnight package company. There was FedEx Overnight. Then there was FedEx Ground, purple and green. That was the package division that wasn't overnight. It was more ground, so second, third day, that kind of stuff. Then there was FedEx home delivery, which was more designed for ordering stuff online. It went beyond just, UPS and FedEx being packaged. It was specifically designed for home delivery kind of stuff. And then you had FedEx Freight, which was truly LTL. 4 distinct divisions that never shared freight amongst themselves.
Okay. Well, that answered it. I just couldn't figure out what the advantage of it was, but that might make sense into the shareholders, but it didn't to me because I thought it was all the same company hauling the same freight in different divisions.
No, totally
But it's
different.
freight hauling it in different divisions.
Absolutely. In a sense,
All right, that explained it.
Yeah, in a sense, they were 4 totally different companies with other than the fact that they were owned by the same parent company, they had nothing to do with each other. Here's an example that we're down to like 8 big companies that own about 95% of the food we eat. If you're buying from grocery stores and that kind of, there's only about 8 companies there. And they have so many different divisions, but
Right.
you're never going to see one division selling Little Debbie snack cakes because that's a totally different division. I mean, they never mix and match products in those companies. And it's the same way with freight for these companies.
Speaking of that, I had a book show up on my recommendations that I haven't even read yet. Have you read the book? And the title of it is Barons. It speaks specifically to the how the food giants have taken over, and I haven't even read it yet. I just curious if you'd had.
I have not read that one yet. But if you were listening yesterday, we had Casey Means on, and I was asking about her brother, Callie.
I did, yeah.
These two have such
Yeah.
a great perspective. She comes from big medicine, and like I said, she was a rock star in medicine. She was on the fast track to. I mean, she was really impressive for how young she was, what she had accomplished, and she walked away from all that. But that was she's a big medicine insider. Her brother, I believe, worked for Pepsi as an executive. He's like a big food insider. So now he's
Okay.
kind of, she's revealing how corrupt the medical system really is. He's revealing how corrupt our food system really is.
Well, it certainly is. Just
Yeah, it's bad.
It's just a very brief digression. Did you read about the Tyson plant in Dexter, Missouri that's being sold?
No, I didn't, but I get a little nervous
Okay.
every
Well,
time
I'll
I
just,
keep hearing
just real
about.
briefly because you're short on time.
Go ahead.
Well, here's what was funny about it. I made the relationship to trucking in this regard is that you're very, very critical of the lease purchase because the company controls everything. Well, here's where I made the comparison. It was so funny to me to read that article about it because Tyson owned a chicken processing plant in Dexter, Missouri, and they owned thousands and thousands of chickens, but the farmers owned the barns, and they were contracted to Tyson, and Tyson closed the plants and no longer processing chickens there. So here's these poor farmers left with a huge, huge debt on their buildings and no chickens to produce.
Jerry, I did a whole show on this.
It was just funny that I read that same, and they're bitching up one side down the other, and it was just funny to make the comparison between a lease purchase deal.
I did an entire show on this a couple of years ago. I found all the financial numbers for these chicken barns. I hate when people make comparisons like this, but you can't help. This was like, oh shoot, what did we used to call when they would lease you a little piece of farm and you had to work it till you fell over dead? Sharecroppers. Or the factory
sharecropping, yeah,
or with the coal mines, the factory towns, that kind of stuff. This is when I looked at the numbers. I'm going to try to remember them. I don't have them in front of me, but it was something along the lines of you had to, if I remember right, you had to like 3 barns. and they were a couple $100,000 each. So the farmer would end up like $500,000 or $600,000 in debt to put these barns up, and they were working 7 days a week. There is like no time off. These operations are so intense, so many chickens, so much going on. And if I remember right, for a farmer who took on like $500,000 worth of debt, they were making about $35,000 or $40,000 a year profit.
Oh, good grief.
It was awful. Some of the worst
Pretty small
numbers I
margin,
have.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was some of the worst numbers I have ever seen in my life. And think about this: we're allowed to work 60 hours in 7 days, and what do? We bitch. We want more. That makes me insane. Stop doing that. The more you are willing to work, all you're doing is driving the price of everything down because you're increasing the supply. And that's what happens with these chicken farmers. They work them 7 days a week, 14 hours a day to make $35,000 a year. That's insane.
Yep. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but your phone's breaking up really, really bad again, Kevin. I'm sure you're fine on the app, but it's breaking up really bad. So
Well,
I'll let you go.
I appreciate it. So I will do what I always do because I know how frustrating that must be to try to talk. So I'm going to take a second here and reset my phone again. It seems to be like we found a pattern. In the very beginning, if sometimes right when I connect, it was a little scratchy. So today I reconnected at the beginning before we even started. But sometime during the show, it seems to happen again. Let me reconnect.
Ready to connect. Click connect to show now. Did as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-in Studio web interface. Audio recording is on.
All right. I think that should fix it. We will see when I try to take the next call here. Update on our software. Hopefully when we get our software done, we'll be able to fix problems like this when they show up. I think I'm probably the one holding things up right now. I've been kind of busy with a bunch of stuff, and I need to reach out to the team probably today and see if we have anything to work on with our new app. Let's go to Texas. Paul, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're better now.
Good.
I was getting close to the point. It was like I'm going to hang up, but
Good.
I stayed on.
Well, I'm glad we
So
fixed it.
I'll keep it short. So one of the meals I do, I call it the poor man's Philly cheesesteak. I get hamburger meat, onions and bell peppers. I cook that up at home. Then it's 27% fat or whatever.
Good.
And then take it on the truck, and then I put grass-fed cheese on the top of it, and then it's stick in the microwave.
There you go.
A meal cost me about $2 maybe, and a little bit of time at home. But it's quick and easy, and it's tasty.
Quick and easy and very tasty. I like that.
Yeah, and then a hard-boiled egg always go good with it. So
that's for sure.
So I'm glad I followed your advice, because for quite a few years now you've been saying pay down debt and save cash. Well, I'm at the point now where I have more cash than I've ever had in my life.
Congratulations.
Every 2 weeks, it's going up.
Excellent.
So, and I'm still running around pretty close to 50% empty. So
nice.
Because it works. I don't want to go and pull someone else's freight that's cheap when I can just go back.
There you go.
To pull our own stuff and still make good money. So.
Yep, I like that.
I was thinking it's been a while since you had a round table with Noel Perry and Todd Amon and whoever else you had all of that. You should do that again one day.
You know,
put that on your list.
I like it. Here's what, and it is kind of on the list, but here's what I'm waiting for. if when did we have that? It was like the first year of COVID, I think, and we did it because of the truck show. Not
2020, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2020, when they canceled the truck
21 maybe.
show. Yeah, one of those two. We did it because there was no truck show, so we kind of did a virtual truck show. We did that roundtable. So let's say it was even 2021. The reason I can't do it again yet, we don't have anything different to say. Nothing has changed. Nothing. Well, lots of things have
SSTD.
changed,
Yeah.
but nothing has changed that would clarify what's going on. I mean, really, I Noel sends me an email a couple times a week, and it's not just me. He updates a lot of people with emails, and it almost always starts off the same. No clarity. Nothing's changed. Same old stuff. I mean, that's what it is every week. It's like everybody's waiting for something to give us a direction. It feels like our economy for several years now has had no direction that we can determine.
Well, my economy has had one direction, and it's been going forward. So
That's
I have to
good.
go and go
You,
that
you
way,
are
so.
you are definitely in the minority, but that is a good time to be in the minority.
Well, I think there's quite a few guys that listen to you that are in that minority.
I
And
hope
other,
so.
Other ones are, and other people are listening to a different channel, listening to bitching and complaining. So
I
right,
think
I'll
so.
let you go.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for the
Okay.
call. Let's go to Virginia. Jeremy, welcome.
Hi.
What's on your mind today?
Hey, I'm not. I know I'm not the only one, but I'm wondering if anyone looked out for when John Connolly releases a new book. You know, the guy who writes Bosch and Lincoln Lawyer.
Michael Connolly.
Michael Connolly. Yeah.
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 Well, actually,
you caught the latest one.
it's actually interesting you say that, because just last night, where was I looking? I either had an email. No, I was looking for a new book on my Kindle, just a novel. I just need a break from
entertainment.
I need a little entertainment. I've been doing so much reading lately and I want to do more reading, but I want it to be entertaining reading. I enjoy a really good novel. So I was looking for a good book last night, and up popped a new Michael Connolly book. And I'm like, excellent. Except I went to buy it, and it's a pre-order for October. It's not going to be out till October.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll get that one too. But did you read Resurrection Walk?
It sounds familiar. Michael Connolly has become one of those authors that I've read so many of his books for so many decades now that I have a hard time keeping them straight.
Well,
when was that one released?
I want to say just within maybe in June or early June, maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, here's the good news. All I have to do is, and I'm opening it up right now. All I have to do is open it up on Kindle, and it will tell me if I already have it.
Oh, okay. Because like they're all separate stories, but this one, there's a few where they connect the two, Bosch and the Lincoln Lawyer together.
Right.
So they're some of the best ones when they do that. I love it.
Yeah, it looks like
way back.
I'm trying to see when this one was released. Why am I not seeing a date anywhere? I don't think I have read this one.
Oh yeah, well, it's great, and I love the two.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait.
No, I just found it. They changed their page layout a little bit, so I missed it. I bought this book February 17th of this year, so I already read this one.
Oh man, so I'm the one that's behind.
Yeah, okay, you're behind. I read this way back when.
Yeah, I'm behind.
That's right.
Okay. Well, just in case anyone hasn't checked out his book, I was just giving a recommendation.
He's definitely one of my favorite authors by far. All right.
Good talking to you, Kevin.
Good stuff. Thanks for the call. Let's go to South Dakota. Jamie, welcome to the program.
How you doing today?
Good. What's on your mind?
I listened to your interview yesterday twice because I really enjoyed it. But I'm a terrible speller. I can't spell her last name, and you never did say the name of the book.
That's pretty bad. Do an entire hour and a half interview about a book and never say the name of the book. Good Energy. And her last name is spelled really kind of like it sounds, Means. Yeah, the book is Good Energy. Thank you for that, because I'm sure if you were wondering, somebody else was too.
Great, man. You have a good day.
All right. Oh, that was an easy one. Thanks for the call. I had kind of paused the phone lines for a second there because I thought I had too many calls. But we've got about 10 minutes left, and I just ran out of calls. So if you want to jump in here, jump in. If not, let me go back to my notes, see what else I might have. I closed out all my notes. Hold on. I had a bunch of stuff on my notes today. Nothing major. Most of what I was focused on today, and I was talking about it at the open, it really is politics. I don't know what else we do at this point. I think I've helped people as much as I can right now with their business, their money, their health, and yet people are still struggling. And they're going to struggle, and it's going to get worse. And we've got to do something in this country to turn it around. And we have an election coming up. And here's something else I can look at historically. You know, I've talked about the 70s a lot, and I've compared this to the 70s. And at the end of the 70s, we had Jimmy Carter in office. Many people would say Jimmy Carter was one of the worst presidents, at least in modern history. I'm not really like a presidential historian. I can't tell you who did what. The only presidents I really know much about are the presidents that have been around in my lifetime, modern times. And Carter was awful. Really, really nice guy. I actually liked him as a person. As a president, he was just awful. Really was. Horrible policies, really hurt the economy bad. It was a bad time to have a bad president, so that made it even worse. But here's what we had back then that was very, very different. We had a president who turned that around, and it was Reagan. We went from potentially one of the best or the worst presidents in modern history to one of the best. As far as results, whether you liked Reagan or not, and I did. I thought he was a good president. I thought he was an interesting person at the time. Whether you liked him or not, you can't argue the results. We went from a horrible economy to a decade or more of prosperity, of good times, and a better feeling about everything. We weren't arguing and fighting. The problem I see today, I don't know if there ever could be another Reagan, because we are too divided and very, very few people are willing to cross the line. Now, if you believe some of what I've been seeing over the last 6 months, there seems to be a big indicator that a lot of people are going to bail on the Democrats. We'll see. But even if they do, and Trump wins by a landslide, which is possible, we could talk about why he might not, and, election interference and all kinds of things. But even if he does, it's not going to change the political environment in this country this time. I don't know if anything could change. That's what I hate to spend too much time thinking about, because I hate to be that negative. But I'm just not sure when I look at the political environment now what could turn that around. Let's go to South Carolina. Terrence, welcome to the program.
What's up, Kev? I got two questions. The first one is, as far as the coaching goes, so I definitely know I wouldn't be able to get on the calls.
Yeah.
Because, I can't, my boss is they got a camera in here.
So. Right.
How would that work that way?
So
it wouldn't work then, right?
It
really?
Can. And I'll give you an example of what we've had happen in the coaching calls already. We had somebody whose same situation, He knew there's no way he was ever going to make it to a call at that time. And I said, all right, submit everything you can to me up front. Write out the question the best you can. Give me here's some things I'll need from you, because I kind of knew what the question was. So I said, if you can show me this blood work and that, and, submit it all ahead of time. I'll review it just like I always do. I'll come up with my recommendations, and then I will talk about it during the coaching call. So then you can go watch the replay. We record everything. You get to see all of it. You can go back and watch it as many times as you want.
Yeah, because mine's going to be finances.
Yeah,
That's what mine's gonna be, finances.
that might. Now, here's what occurred. His question was so in depth and not an easy one. He was already working with Dr. Wolfson. There were still some problems. And ultimately, no matter how much work I did on what he sent over to me, I couldn't go forward without asking him other questions. And what I can't do, I can't turn it into a true one-on-one. I can't reach out to him. So here's what we did. I said, look, here's what I'm going to do. This is an unusual case. This isn't going to happen every week, so I'm not worried about setting a precedent here. I am willing, you tell me which week and what day and time, and I will reschedule our call for that week. And I'm willing to do that. It turned out.
I wouldn't want to do that to anybody.
And he didn't either. And I said, look, I'm the one making the decision. Don't feel bad. This is recorded. People will, it's okay. If we need to reschedule one, that's what I want to do. I want to make sure you get the value out of the program. Ultimately, he said, no, I don't want to do that. It's too much trouble for everybody. And we managed to get it worked out. But if that's the case, I'll make sure it works.
Okay. Yeah, because it's just finance, and I got the guy I used. I've been using. My mom used, and my uncle used, and all that. He's in New York, in Staten Island. It's just like I only got one thing with him, and then I got the rest of my 401k from work and all that crap. I just wanted, because I had to restructure everything because when I bought that house, I had to buy the house and bad time, so I wanted to get back on track, And,
you can submit.
I changed when I was going to be time.
Yeah, that one I can probably do pretty easily if you just submit all the stuff ahead of time. I can just go through it. Then I will.
Okay.
I'll talk about it during the call, and then you can go back and watch it.
Okay, cool. All right. My other question. So I tweaked my arm. I don't know, back maybe almost close to a month and a half ago. Like if you go to raise your, like you're doing a chicken dance. Like my right arm. Like when I do that, I get like a pulling from all the way up by the top of my shoulder, down through under like my tricep, my bicep in the front, and then down my forearm, like not forearm, but like all the way. What is that? That's like a tendon or something, right? More than likely.
I don't know. What does the pain feel like?
It's kind of like like a pulling, like a tensioning, like and it's.
So like the muscle
weird.
gets really
it comes
tight.
on at night. Yeah, it's like muscle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Almost always with muscle. Almost always, is it more like just muscle pain because you worked a muscle too hard, or is it more like muscle cramping where it's just getting tight and it's inflexible?
Sometimes it's tight, but like I said, originally it was just because, when I went to lift the cooler off the back of my pickup truck, and my pickup truck's high, and when I lifted, I felt like a snap.
Yeah.
And then I lost,
Okay.
So it's just
tells
weird. It's weird.
That tells me more. No, that's what I needed to know. There was an incident where you injured it. You felt it. So now.
Yeah.
Based on what you told me, that's not like a permanent injury. It's not like our back is so out of alignment that we've got muscles that can't ever relax. This was a one-time thing. How long ago was it?
Probably about a month and a half ago.
Yeah. So what that's telling us now, that should have healed in less than 30 days. So we're now past that point. If you're still feeling that, my guess is you're still inflamed for some reason. And
it definitely feels like inflammation.
Yeah, typically that's still going to be something in the diet.
Okay. All right. And the thing too, like, I mean, I just started doing the X3 bar again yesterday, and I was able to do, like yesterday I did the first one, so I was doing the push-up part of it and all that, and I didn't have any pain
Right.
when I was doing that, but I could feel pressure on it. But it's just like when I go like to raise my arm to the side, like doing a chicken dance.
Yeah. So what that tells
I don't know,
me
like I said,
is the muscle you damaged is not the muscle you're using for that motion. It's not the primary muscle.
Yep.
You know, anytime we lift weights, we activate a whole bunch of muscles, but there's usually one primary muscle. And whatever that is, that's not the one you injured.
Okay. All right. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying. I stopped doing the X3 bar cause of it, and I'm like, I got to get back on track, man.
Yeah. No, that's the best thing you can do
I
for
gotta
it.
do something.
Yeah, work it out.
Okay.
The best thing you can do. Now, if
And
you find out,
when I go to bed, it's enzyme forte. I'll just take a bunch out before I go to bed, and that'll probably.
there you go. Hey, I just looked, and I was trying to be on time, and I am 28 seconds late. 33 seconds late. Damn it. I was trying to be on time today.
We can't see that.
Yeah. Well, all right.
Why start now?
Because. Just because. But you know what? I got you all set up. There's already a call in the queue waiting for you. 2 now.
I saw that.
Yeah.
We didn't see that, but I saw it.
Yeah. 2 of them waiting for you. So good morning. How are you guys today?
The trick here is that our internet is down, and so Kevin has got this hooked up through cell data on his phone.
Nice.
Right.
Nice. Way to recover there. I like that.
Yes, we're doing all right. We're going to make it. Yeah, and it sounds like you're having a good show.
I was having a good show. Now I have to end it.
Yeah.
Now it's all over.
We came here to interrupt all that.
I'm sad when it ends.
Clown show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know the comedy hour's coming up, so I have something to look forward to.
Right.
Jokes.
Hopefully.
That's right. All right. Well, you guys
Something
have some
good.
calls. You better get to work.
All righty.
All right. Have a good
All right,
show.
thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you for everything as always.
No problem, buddy.
Thank you too. All right. All right. So this is the Rolling Toe Show again. And this is what is this? The 27th of June. What is the significance of the 27th of June?
It is my wife's birthday.
Really?
Yes.
Did you remember to